Most oil painters struggle to elevate their art from hobbyist to pro level because they overlook 4 critical levers for improving their art that should be baked into every painting they make. In this video, I'll show you the strategy that I use to go from working a desk job and painting as an amateur on the side to going pro in just 2 years and having a portrait win me the Oil Painters of America gold medal just 4 years after that, all without art school or putting in decades of work. Now, you might be thinking, Chelsea, that sounds great, but if I want to create pro-level paintings, what I really need is a time machine, because without art school, I'm behind. And at my age, I may not have the time to catch up. And if you're retired, that time pressure can feel very real. Most of my students are retirees, and they come to me with that exact worry. I've literally had students say, I probably only have 10 good years left. I can't afford to waste them. But look at what they've done. Many of these students are in their 70s or 80s, and I've seen artists make huge progress even after age 85. And here's the key. So art school isn't necessarily bad. It's just built for people with years to spare. So it often teaches a one-size-fits-all approach where every student does years of the same basic drawing fundamentals, then painting fundamentals, and then after years, you get to start exploring making art that feels original. But if you don't have time to waste, we want to actually turn this on its head. So start with your goal and work backwards to the few fundamentals that will move the needle for you right now. So to start, let me show you how to do that so you don't waste years or tens of thousands of dollars practicing things you don't actually need. That was me. I wanted to get good enough to paint professionally, so I took classes and I painted after work, but every class pulled me toward a different finish line. The result wasn't progress, it was all over the place. But everything changed when I got crystal clear on what separated my favorite paintings and the art that I actually wanted to make from the art that I just liked or appreciated or thought could make me money. This meant that for the first time, I had a target and I could start ignoring all of the techniques and lessons that didn't apply directly to what I wanted to master. So your first job is to identify a clear goal painting style. Choose 5 to 10 paintings you love, not just admire, and write down 3 things they all have in common. That becomes the North Star for your personalized curriculum. Now, every study will actually have a purpose, and every painting session is going to move you in the same direction. So your effort is going to be cumulative. This already cuts out a lot of unnecessary exercises that take time, but we can take this to yet another level. So next I'll show you the exact tool that accelerated my progress so much that it only took 2 years for me to go from amateur to pro. Once I finally got clear on the kind of work I wanted to make, my own painting started to feel amateur by comparison. And I didn't have years to waste guessing my way to mastery. At first, I assumed the fastest way forward was to crank out polished original paintings. Like every session had to produce something portfolio worthy. But that's a trap that really slows your progress. And what I learned is that the best painters don't practice by trying to be perfect either. They practice by running experiments and getting curious when things go wrong. And that actually really makes their progress so much faster. No one can transform their technique overnight, but you can supercharge your progress by adopting a pro mindset. And the pro mindset for fastest growth is simple: more reps and clearer lessons. So stop judging a painting session by whether it produced an original painting and start judging it by whether you got one clear takeaway. If you paint a lot, but you can't pinpoint what caused the mud or what kept the brushwork actually looking fresh, your growth slows down. But if you finish each session with one takeaway, repeat this or avoid that, your technique accelerates. Now here's where a lot of painters accidentally sabotage themselves. They go into laser focus mode and they burn out. But when you do this next step, you'll not only progress incredibly quickly, it'll actually feel fun. So here's the thing. You can have the perfect plan, but if it makes you dread going into the studio, you're not going to stick to it. I saw this at the atelier. Everyone improved really fast, but out of the 30 or so students there, all but just 4 of them quit, because within just months, it stopped being enjoyable. So this next step is to make your practice sustainable. The best painting exercise in the world is useless if you're too discouraged to actually do it. Your job is to make painting the part of your day that you actually look forward to the most by alternating focused study with pure enjoyment. So one day, do the tactical work. Next session, paint something you genuinely love, whether it's painting your grandchild or a favorite character from a TV show or going out and painting plein air with friends. That is how you stay consistent long enough to actually achieve mastery. And if you want a shortcut, add community, like a weekly life drawing group, because it makes you show up even on the days that you don't feel motivated. This brings us to the next big problem. How do you know what to practice to actually get better without art school handing you the curriculum? When you have a teacher, they can just assign you the exercises. But in my journey, I was mostly on my own. So I did the simplest thing. I put my portraits next to my goal paintings and asked, what's different? For me, the gaps actually felt really obvious once I did this. So the forms felt a little bit more flat. The color seemed a little bit harsh in places or garish, but really muddy in others. And the brushwork didn't have that fresh, expressive quality that I was looking for. So I built my practice around those steps. And this next piece is super important. I only tried to improve one skill gap at a time. So if I knew I had a value problem, I removed color completely and just worked on value studies. If I didn't like the marks I was making, I would try to replicate marks from master paintings that I loved without rushing to put them into an original composition. That's when my work started improving fast. And here's how you can put this into your own practice. So compare your current work to your goal paintings and name the 2 to 3 biggest differences that stand out to you and practice each one of those areas independently until they're no longer holding you back, rather than trying to tackle them all at once by just making more original paintings. That's how you build your own curriculum and stop wasting time on random practice. Now, if this was helpful and you want to go deeper on the best exercises I recommend for every skill gap, watch this video next. It'll show you my favorite exercises for tackling all of the most common skill gaps one by one.